What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Bear Podcast. And today we want to look at some risers and fallers from day 3 and day 4 of the 2022 NFL Combine. Day 3 and day 4 featured the linebackers, cornerbacks, defensive linemen, and safeties, and we want to specifically focus on the positions that are a need for the Chicago Bears heading into this year's offseason. I already made a video about day 1 and day 2 where we covered wide receivers and the offensive linemen. And today it's all about the linebackers, receivers, and safeties. We won't look at that much into the defensive line, although there were some crazy performances because it's not the biggest need. So let's get right into it. Day 3. And the first linebacker I want to mention is Troy Anderson from Montana State. And he had a freaking amazing combine. He ran a 4.42, which was the fastest time for the linebackers, which is insane at 6'3", 243 pounds. His on-field workouts, I think I only saw him in there one time. I think he set out the rest of the drills, but I'm not sure. But in that drill, he looked really quick, had great reactions, and his weight transition was looking good as well. He's definitely a guy to watch out for the Chicago Bears, a potential player that they could pursue in the middle rounds, and he's a very raw talent with sideline-to-sideline ability, great tackling, and athleticism, but like I said, raw. He's still learning the position. He played quarterback and running back before, which is super crazy. But he displayed his full potential, and it's not unlocked yet. He just confirmed his Senior Bowl performance, which was pretty good as well. Great player, had an amazing combine. Channing Tindall from Georgia is a 6'2", 230-pound linebacker who I really like as well. He had a great 40 time with 4.47, which is very good. Had great on-field workouts as well. He looked really smooth, had great fast feet, and good reactions. And like Anderson, he's a bit more of a raw talent when it comes to reading offenses and processing, but he's a great athletic talent with lots of room to grow and would be an amazing player next to Roquan Smith. Pair him up with another Georgia Bulldog would be super cool. Damone Clark from LSU is also a linebacker I have to mention. He is one of my favorite linebackers in this year's draft class, and he had a 4.57 40, which is still very good. He's a bigger and more stronger built linebacker, and he did well in all of the field drills. He looked smooth, fast. He's an amazing tackler who showed great flashes in coverage, and he will contribute on special teams early right away with the chance to be a starter also in his first year in the league, or maybe in his second. But he's a very talented player that you really have to look out for in the draft. It will be interesting where he will go, but also potential Bears player that will be very good. Those are 3 guys that make sense for the Bears to attack in the middle rounds because they could potentially fall there. And to mention a few more players at the Combine, Quay Walker, who will definitely be a second-round pick after a Combine performance. He might be available for the Bears at 39, but I don't think linebacker is that much of a need that we should pursue him. But he had a crazy workout, looked very much outstanding. Leo Chenal from Wisconsin, I think, had a pretty solid workout as well. Very good player. It will be interesting where he will land. And the same for Christian Harris from Alabama, who ran a super fast 40 time and really showed out on the field drills. So just a few more linebackers to mention. And lastly, I want to talk about DeMarco Jackson from App State. He had a 4.55 40 time, which is very fast still, and he showed good movements in drills, was very smooth, fluid. That was kind of surprising me, and he might be a later round potential developmental player, but he would be an instant special teams impact with good speed and great tackling. He's also a guy to look out for in round 6, maybe 7. He could be very good as well. Before we move on to day 4, I quickly want to mention the defensive linemen in the draft. It's not the biggest need for the Bears, but guys like Jordan Davis or Devontae Wyatt absolutely showed out. The Georgia Bulldogs had an amazing combine in general, but these defensive linemen are so damn athletic. Like 4.78 is insane. Also, the edge rushers had amazing combines. Aiden Hutchinson, the top dogs, Kayvon Thibodeau, all had very good workouts, and it's just insane how deep this class is, and that's just something I wanted to mention. Let's move on to day 4, which was all about the cornerbacks and safeties in the draft. And the first guy I want to talk about is one of my favorites, Tariq Woolen from UTSA. And he was one of my favorite corners going into the combine, and he's just a super long athlete at 6'4", 205, and he was expected to run fast. And if you want to, you can check out my cornerback prospects video from a few weeks ago, where I also talked about him and some of the guys that will be coming up. But he had an insane 40-yard dash with 4.26. I think it was the second fastest cornerback time ever at the combine. And he is 6'4", 205. This guy's absolutely insane. That's absolutely an absurd, illegal, and crazy time. But on the other hand, he's still a very raw player. You see that on tape. He's still learning technique and processing because he played wide receiver before and switched to cornerback, I think, 2 years ago. So he still has lots and lots to learn, but that 40 time was absolutely insane. And you saw that on-field workouts that he still needs to learn how to really properly use technique as a cornerback. He still has stiff hips when he wants to flip them. He's too upright. He just needs to improve with the technical part, but the physical and athletic measurements and ability is definitely there, and he's an absolute crazy athlete who I would love next to Jalen Johnson. I don't know how this combine performance will impact his draft stock, but very, very good player. Roger McCreary from Auburn is also a guy we have to talk about. He's an absolute lockdown man-to-man corner who played insane competition in the SEC. He's, for me, a first-round talent who might fall into round 2, and he did very good at the combine, I would say. He ran a 4.5 flat, which is totally okay, and he had amazing on-field drills. Like, he really showed how technically refined he is, had no problems flipping hips, looked really, really fluid and smooth. Just a great player that we also have to look out for at pick number 39 if we don't get our top guy there. And a guy like Roger McCreary's there, that would be a great choice as well. Also, I want to mention Darian Kendrick from Georgia. He did not run a 40 time, but he had a great on-field workout and it looked really, really good there. Kyler Gordon from Washington is also a very, very insane player. He had an amazing combine. He did not have the fastest 40 time with 4.52, but he really showed out on the on-field workouts. A guy that could be available for Chicago in round 2, unlike his teammate Trent McDuffie, who also had a great outing at the combine. But Kyler Gordon really showed out and had really good on-field workouts. Martin Emerson from Mississippi State is also a guy I need to mention. He is one of my favorite players in the whole draft that could potentially be available for the Bears in round 3 or 4. He had a 4.53 40, which is okay, but he had a really good on-field workout and definitely one of my favorite players still that could be available at day 3 early on or late in day 2. And the last cornerback that we have to talk about is Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati, the partner in crime from Sauce Gardner, and he ran a 4.54 40, which is not great, but I think he did actually outstanding in his drills. He looked very smooth, great movements, looked very natural, and he's still one of the best options that could be available in round 3 or 4 in draft. And I don't know what some guys have with him. I read some reports that he had a bad combine and stuff, but when you look his workout, he really looked good to me, and I don't have a problem with his 40 time. He's still a great player that would instantly be a starter on the Bears. So that wraps it up for the cornerbacks, and let's move on to the safeties. And I think the safeties was a really, really good group at the combine. It was really a strong group to finish up the whole day, and the first guy I have to mention is Nick Cross, one of my absolute draft crushes this year from Maryland. He is a big riser. Like, he had a 4.34 40 time, which was somewhat expected due to his track background, but it's still an amazing, outstanding time for a safety. One heck of a combine, amazing on-field drills, and he must have gone up in these teams' players' rankings. I would be so excited if he drops to the Bears in the later rounds. And Nick Cross is an amazing run support guy with tons of talent. In coverage, super fast. I love this player. He would be so nice in Chicago. The next guy I want to mention is Kirby Joseph from Illinois, and he is somewhat the first faller, really, of this video, because these players, these cornerbacks, these safeties, these linebackers had so many great, outstanding performances. There are not a lot of players that really had bad workouts, but Kirby Joseph, I like him a lot. He's a great player, but he struggled a bit on the field. He didn't run a 40, and he looked a bit stiff when flipping hips and looked uncomfortable in some situations. And he's somewhat of a faller, but he's still a great player. I loved his tape, and he should still be a late day 2, early day 3 pick. JT Woods from Baylor is also a guy that surprised me a lot. He had an amazing 40 at 4.36, was absolutely insane as well. He's definitely a riser, and not only a great 40, he also had great on-field workouts, looked really smooth there. And the 6'2" safety is definitely a guy that showed out at the combine. And I got to definitely check out some more tape of him. I haven't watched a lot of him, so combine made me really interesting what he can bring to the table. And he might be a later round guy that has tons and tons of potential. He was great to watch at the combine. His partner, Jalen Petrie, is also a guy I like a lot already. If you want to, you can check him out in my safeties video. And he just had a great on-field workout. He didn't run a 40, but you just saw how fast he can react. His quick feet, his movement, all is great with him, and he's just one heck of a player. I would love him in Chicago, and he will definitely go round 2, no matter what. Marquise Bell from Florida A&M is a smaller school stud with a 4.41 40 time, which was absolutely amazing. And he really also had some solid on-field drills. He looked smooth, reacted fast, and that's a guy I've heard a lot of good stuff about, but I haven't checked him out myself yet. So after the combine, he really got me interested into him and who he is, and he looked good on-field. I will be so excited to watch some tape of this guy. I can't wait. And the last two guys we have to talk about in this video are Lewis Cine and Jaquan Brisker. Cine from Georgia is still one of my favorite safeties in the draft. He definitely is even more rising after the combine, I think. His performance was absolutely amazing. The hard hitter ran a 4.37 40 time, which is amazing for him, and had great drills as well. And Jaquan Brisker is also a second-round lock from Penn State. He ran a 4.49 40, good time, and also had great on-field drills. Two guys that are so good, and I would love to see on the Bears, but it all depends on which position they want to attack first with that second-round pick. But that wraps up the video. Thank you guys for tuning in. The next video will be the mock draft 1.0. It will be pre-free agency. And then there will be a lot of free agency news coming up. Stay tuned for that. Once again, it was so much fun watching the combine and breaking it down for you guys. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. Check out Instagram for the latest news. And as always, guys, bear down.